Misinformation. Hey everyone, Tina McGlynn with another episode of Life and Stories. And today I am with Joanna Klein, who is a legacy and life journey coach. Did I say that right? Did I do
You
a good?
did. Yes.
Tell,
Yes.
tell us, kind of what that's all about. That's an interesting. I haven't heard of it, so I want to know what is that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I have an online course. It's a 6-month course
Oh wow.
that really guides women through the process of writing about their life stories and writing a collection of their life stories. So it's not for women who want to publish a book or want to do an autobiography, and it's kind of memoir, but somehow memoir is a little bit intimidating, I think, to some people. But it's really guiding them, helping them, giving them the tools, simplifying the process, into helping provide inspiration to write stories about their life. And they do it for a couple of different reasons. So the women who take my course, they do it for self-discovery.
Okay.
So often it's like, all right, so what's been the meaning of my life? Like I've had these stories, like, so I want to go back now and really what I like to say is to be the victim of your life stories instead, and I mean the victor, the victor, not the victim
Yeah.
of your life stories. So it's to be able to go back and see how everything that's happened has really made you who you are today, and to be able to embrace it, excuse me, embrace it from that perspective. So that's one reason. It's for self-discovery. Another reason of doing it is to be able to have something to share with their children and their grandchildren and their loved ones, or even other people who might be influenced. Like I have a woman in my class who doesn't have children or grandchildren, but she's been a very successful businesswoman, and she wants her stories to serve as a mentor for other young women. So there's any number of reasons of doing it, but it's like we know we have stories in us, and so it's a matter of getting some structure and some help in getting the stories out of us and on the computer, and then being able to share it.
Oh, I love that. And it's funny because we all, like you said, have stories, but it's great to have somebody to facilitate, the output, and to structure it. And I have to ask, how did you get into something like this? Tell me about that.
So it's, I mean, it's so funny. It's an interesting story because the idea of actually doing the program is called From Journey to Legacy, and the idea of actually doing it, I was like, I can't remember the time where it's like, but there was, excuse me, there was a path to get me there. So, um, I'm 67 years old now, and
Oh,
I was,
you look wonderful. Let me stop and just say that.
thank you, thanks.
You look very
But I had just turned 61. I was going through my third divorce, and I was very ashamed that I was going through another divorce. So I had this story in my head that I was like a total loser around that. I was I was financially challenged at the time. I was just really not, kind of in that I'm on the downhill slope kind of mindset. And so I was in a victim place, and I was feeling like my life had really not had a whole, like, even though I'd had a bunch of accomplishments throughout my life, I was not feeling it. I was not feeling confident and good about myself. And I remember being like just sitting on the floor, like on my meditation pillow, and I was hugging my knees to me, and I was just sobbing and just feeling this kind of like, life sucks. And there was a book that I don't even know how I got it. I'm pretty sure it was a gift. But it kind of like popped out. You know how sometimes the universe takes care of us that
yeah.
way. It's like, oh, all right, I think I'm supposed to look at this. And it's a book by Pema Chodron called When Things Fall Apart. And so I opened it up, and just my eyes went to this one paragraph that talked about how your life is a good teacher and a good friend. And I'm like, all right, my life's a good teacher and a good friend. And so something at that point inspired me to start just writing down some stuff, and I didn't journal.
Okay.
I mean, I like to write. Okay. Writing was a form that didn't bother me, but it wasn't like I did it. But so every day for the next 7 days, I just started writing, and I was getting stuff out of me, but I kept asking myself, like, how's my life been a good teacher and a good friend? And I started things started to shift for me, and I started to say, wait a minute, I'm the common denominator in these three divorces, right? I'm the common denominator in that equation. So what's up with me? And do I want to keep going in this direction? And so I made the decision, no, I do have life ahead of me. I do want to still to feel alive, and I do want to feel in control of my life. And so I just started on a path of like, what do I want to do? I want to have an online business. I've wanted an online business since the year 2000,
Oh,
and so I got a coach,
okay.
and she kind of guided me through a process. I did an online summit called Sassy, Sexy, and 60,
Oh,
and
love that title.
yeah, it was fun. It was super fun, and it raised my confidence. I got a subscriber list, and I started writing to the subscriber list, and I started kind of more and more sharing authentically my own journey, and the more that I wrote, the more people wrote back to me, and I was like, this is connecting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and there's another piece to my story. Um, and that's that right around this time when it was like the next year, 62. So I was like going through this process and starting to like figure out what I want to do. And I got a call from my sister who was 5 years older. She'd just heard from the doctor. She'd been diagnosed with an aggressive form of cervical cancer, and she had 3 months to live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That being
yeah,
former mentor OBGYN, yeah, that's significant.
yeah, yeah. And she and her son, her only child, her light of her life, was getting married in 3.5 months.
Ooh, okay.
So she was like, the wedding's going to go on. Don't cancel it. And there was just kind of I just wrote about it recently. It's just kind of this blur of that time from the phone call to her death. She wasn't able to attend the wedding. She watched it on FaceTime, but she was too weak to attend, and she died the next day.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just because I had a neighbor across the street that died very young of cervical cancer, and her daughter's a nurse practitioner, and being a champion of women in their health and making sure they get self-care. I just hugged, Therese, and I said, I just am so surprised your mom just seemed like, she took care, but there's that thing about we women that we get misinformation and things happen because of that.
And things
Yep.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a year and a half later, her son and his wife had a baby girl,
Oh,
and my sister loved kids. She would have been an incredible grandmother. They now have a little boy as well, and so I was trying to like I've been trying to write stories about her for them,
yeah.
but I she and I weren't that close. There's a 5 years age difference, like I said. We were very different, and so I know things about her, but I don't know her like, I don't really know a lot of like she was thinking. She stuttered as a kid. She had multiple sclerosis. She had all these challenges, and yet she always had this like positive attitude. She was so giving, so generous. She was just this amazing person, and I can share from that perspective. But I say it's like my stories about her are in black and white when they should be in Technicolor.
Yes.
And yeah, so I'm really clear that when we die, our stories die with us. So we need to write our stories, and we don't have to be this great author and great writer. It's just capturing them so we can share them with loved ones, because her grandkids will never know her, and this would be a way, like the best that I can do is share what I know, but if they had those stories, how meaningful that would be.
No, I agree because I read about several times where people were giving diagnosis of a terminal illness, and that is what they do. Either they write or they do video, and for because they have young children, or there are grandchildren, or even in one case, the mother was pregnant, and got a diagnosis of cancer, and not sure if what would the outcome was going to be on the other side of delivering that baby. So I totally, get, what you offer, and it's such a valuable, service. And how would someone connect with you? Like what do you have out there for means of people connecting with you?
Yeah. Well, there's several different things. This, on, like, I know this is supposed to air next week, and on Monday, I think you said, on Wednesday, I'm offering a free workshop, the start of a free
That
workshop.
calendar's behind me. What's Wednesday's date?
So Wednesday is March 17th.
Ah, St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. So March 20, so that this will be March 17th, 2021. So if anyone's listening afterwards, but I do free workshops all the time.
Okay.
So it's called Write Your Authentic Story. And I simplify the process. I break it down and offer inspiration and stuff. And it's going to be 3 days. It's an hour each day. So it's 3 hours total, an hour each day. So on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So that's something that I offer. And then I also offer the 6-month course where they do the writing. The end result is a legacy journal that they can give to family, and I also do a legacy video with them. So I do an interview, so they have both the legacy journal and also the video, and so that's a course that I offer twice a year.
Okay. And so if someone wanted to sign up, those that are listening in the podcast for the free one on the 17th, 18th, 19th, how would they go about doing that?
So they can get to it a couple of ways. If they're on Instagram and they want to find me there, it's in my profile. It's a link in my profile, and my Instagram handle is From Journey to Legacy. So From Journey to Legacy, and then my website is fromjourneytolegacy.com.
Okay.
And so they can sign up for a free session with me. I call it a gold mining session. So
Yeah.
it's like, bring your story and we're gonna like mine the gold in it. We're gonna see what was like the lessons, the blessings, the wisdom in the story. So I offer that to people who are kind of curious and wanting to know a little bit how this all works. But they can also kind of schedule that if they're interested in finding out more about, the course that I offer too.
Great. No, I love it. I do. I love it. And I just I love finding these gems of these businesses that women have that, we may not heard of, but we need or want,
Yeah.
So I do. No, I love, taking the time for you, taking the time to tell us about that. And is there anything in the future? Is there anything you're thinking of expanding with or anything like that at all?
I am working on a self-paced program with it. So, as there's a lot of, I've heard from a lot of like millennials and Gen Xers, they want this from their mom,
Oh,
right?
sure. Yeah.
And so I'm putting together a package as be a self-paced where there'll be some video tutorials. So it won't be live like my course. So there won't be the one-on-one opportunities for coaching. But if they want to do something like a smaller package and they still be able to have the inspiration and the prompts and the system in place, and that's in the works right now. I've been working on that program now for a year, so I'm hoping it's going to be ready pretty soon.
Oh, what a wonderful gift that would be. Mother's Day,
Hmm.
Christmas, birthdays. No, I love that. I do. I
Yeah.
love that. Well, thanks so much, Joanna, for hanging out with me and my technical challenges that I've had.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I
If
want
can I add one other little point? Is there time?
absolutely, yeah, of course.
Because this has kind of been an end product that I want to share that I'm hearing from the women that are in my program is they are having such fun going back and kind of diving into their stories again. And that, several of them have said, we get so busy with our lives and we don't make time for something like this. But by committing to just the process, whether it's through my program or you just decide to do it on your own or whatever, that they're finding it so fun to go back in there and dive in and remember things. And it's like, wow, it's like I did that. And so it's really empowering.
Yeah, of
And
course.
even the stuff that's the hard stuff, like going back with that lens of wisdom and like looking for, how is your life a good teacher and a good friend? And there's this kind of peace that comes with it too. So it's all these wonderful end products that come from the process of doing it. So yeah, I encourage, however you do it, I encourage want people to be doing it. Yeah.
I do, yeah, this is fantastic. 'Cause I love this because I loved hearing my grandmother's stories, and I'm so glad because, I'll meet cousins from my grandfather's side and I give them all these family facts. In fact, one of my cousins just moved to Tampa and I'm telling him all this stuff. He's like, I didn't even know any of this stuff. And he
Right.
goes, how do you know all of it? I go, because I knows that. We used to ask grandma all the time, about why this, why that, and my grand, and that's why I love genealogy, and I just love that. But fantastic business model, kudos to you. I
Thank you.
love it. And if anyone would like to reach out to Joanna, it'll be right in the bottom of the information on this podcast. And I urge you, I think this is a great thing. If anything, therapeutic. And, thanks for listening and thanks for coming along, Joanna. I really appreciate the time you took. And next time on Life and Stories, we'll see you soon. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.